Stipe Miocic versus Alistair Overeem. This is a great fight. There's really not too much to really say about it. It's not really a fight that needs to be broken down. Everybody's familiar enough with Stipe. Everybody knows that he's a good fighter and what he can do. There's really no point in talking about Alistair, his stand-up and he's such a great stand-up fighter. He's K1 champ and Strikeforce champ and Dream champ, and there's really no point in because it's a long time ago. And then when he was in K1, he was on steroids. He was quote unquote Overeem, overroid and all this. So we've seen Alistair when he was in Pride, when he was skinny, and then we went to seeing him. He would lose fights. He's always lost fights over the years, and then we've seen him when he was very dominant, and then he had to go off the steroids after the Brock Lesnar fight when he came in the UFC, and he's looked really good. He's looked really good, and then he got knocked out by Bigfoot Silva, but he was winning that fight, and he got knocked out by Travis Brown, but he was winning that fight. So this is like, he's one of those fighters. First of all, I'm rooting for Alistair. I'm rooting for Alistair in this fight. I would love to see him beat Stipe. I mean, it's cool if Stipe beats him. I expect to see a good fight. It's going to be an exciting fight. I don't think it's going to be a boring decision win fight, but you never know. You never know with these guys. Alistair is fighting smarter now, and I think that increases his chances because he started getting knocked out when he was Overeem. He could come in and just rely on brute strength, and he could just run right through guys. He really could. And then when he had to go off the steroids, what happened is he started getting knocked out. Actually, he was on steroids till he was in K1, and Badahari knocked him out. But Badahari was pretty much juiced up at that point. I don't think he was, and then he really bulked up. Or if he was taking steroids, he wasn't all bulked up. He bulked up. He came back and knocked out Overeem, and so I think that's when it kind of started with Overeem, with him getting knocked out, and then he was kind of relying, on brute strength. But the problem was his chin started to not be as good, and he'd come into just small guys, and as soon as he get cracked, guys started to knock him out. And then he had to go off steroids. Now he went off steroids, and then plus dealing with the fact that his chin is not what it used to be. He had to change his fight style, and he's been fighting a lot smarter. It's a lot harder to hit him, and he's really looked great. I mean, he really has. It's like, it's one of those things that shows, like the steroids in a lot of ways can really hinder you because you'll rely on strength. I mean, the strength is important. It's very important, but so is technique. Technique in your skill is more important. If you could combine the two, but see, in fighting, people don't often combine the two. You know what I mean? They're just stronger, so they're going to use that strength. It's hard when one guy's the stronger guy to be evasive and be creative and pick your shots when you feel like you can just run right in there and maul somebody. You know what I mean? So we've seen Alistair kind of go through all these phases. He's had a long career. I mean, fortunately for him, he has steamrolled a lot of guys, which, I mean, he doesn't, when you steamroll somebody, you don't really take any brain damage or anything like that. So anyway, I'm rooting for Alistair. I'd like to see Alistair win. I think he can win, and I'm kind of leaning towards him to win this fight. But man, Stipe is just so good. It's just a great fight. This is one of those fights, I wouldn't bet on this fight. Just sit back. I would never bet on some of these guys. Alistair's one of them, because you never know. You don't know if this guy's going to get knocked out or if he's going to steam. You don't know what's going to happen with the guy. And I think he kind of falls into at this point, he does kind of fall into the glass chin category. Same with Arlovsky. And you know, you just, you know, Frank Mir, any of these guys could get knocked out because they've been knocked out, and you're just like, you know, you know, Frank Mir's not really a glass champ, but he was on a losing streak for a while there, and he just didn't really look too good. So yeah, this is just kind of like, man, who's going to win? I don't know. I'd like to see Alistair win. I think he can win, and I'm rooting for him. I'll see you guys later.